Chill Vibes Only. We're back, and this time I have a very special guest with me. Tanner, please say hello.
Hi, what's going on, guys?
We're here to give you the best Star Wars podcast for sure on the platform, alright?
Easily the best.
Absolutely. So we're going to start off strong with one of the best questions, alright? What is your favorite Star Wars movie that has been ever made?
My favorite Star Wars movie. That one is gonna have to go to Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith, I think, by far is everybody's favorite choice.
It's just the plot, the movie, the plot twists. It's an all-around really, really good movie for the time it was made. Everything with it. It's a great movie.
It's perfect. I love how they portrayed Anakin, like, betraying everybody. I love how he actually had a dispute in his head, like, who should I actually listen to? Palpatine? Should I actually listen to my, like... Because, I mean, let's be honest. He had some type of hesitation before he, like, joined Palpatine and, like, you know, hurt Windu. Because, let's be honest, Windu doesn't die. Okay?
Exactly. No, he's still alive.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for a spin-off series of him.
I cannot wait for that.
Knows for a fact he's alive.
That is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Another one I can't wait for is the Obi-Wan Kenobi one coming out. That's going to be amazing.
That's going to be really, really good. I'm really hoping that they do add a kind of maybe either, if not a duel, but an encounter with Maul, and finding out that Maul's still alive.
That would be nice. I'd actually appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
It's because like Maul is one of my favorite. Like whenever it comes to the dark side, let's be honest, he's pretty cool. His dual saber, is beautiful. I'm not much of like a dual saber fan. Like if I were to have one, I would go with like a single hand. Maybe like a single hand that you can like hold with both hands, but like more of like Dooku style and like the one-handed fight.
Oh yeah, for sure.
His saber looks like it's more meant for like like the fencing style that you know what I mean, like the way he holds it and everything. It is pretty nice hilt though, I will say.
Oh, for sure, without a doubt. My whole thing with Revenge of the Sith is I really enjoy how they show the corruption and how his character, Anakin's character, his dark side, you could say, develops.
Yes, I love it.
It slowly goes from this great hero that we love to this dark side villain in Darth Vader.
I did appreciate that. One thing I will say though is I really wish we could see like there was like a what if series, kind of like what Marvel's doing, a what if series, and like what if Anakin actually like stayed good, like what would actually happen. I think that would be pretty cool to see. Like if Anakin actually didn't go to the dark side, then this war would be over faster than it started, something like that. I don't know. What do you think would happen? What are your thoughts? Like if Anakin were to actually, stay good, what do you think would happen?
I think the war would definitely end a lot quicker. I think that they would find out the true identity of Palpatine a lot faster.
Yeah.
And my whole thing was, I see, if it was what if, in my head I would picture Palpatine has Windu on edge like they did in the scene, and Anakin storms through and knocks Palpatine off, and he does this thing where a ship comes through and picks him up, and then they find out the true identity of Palpatine and his ways and, let's say, of Order 66, and they somehow find a way to get the implants out of the clones.
Kind of like what they were... Yeah.
And it starts developing more and more. Anakin becomes a Master Jedi, and it just kind of progresses, and Obi-Wan and Anakin become this great duo. I mean, they already were.
Oh my god, they were
so much better than what they were.
They were amazing.
And I truly think it would have been nice, but I do like the way they took the movies.
Yeah, I can agree. I kind of think, whenever we talk about this, it's kind of like how they like started to take out Rex's implants and Cody's, or attempted with them in like Clone Wars. Clone Wars was a pretty good series. I absolutely loved it. All right, especially Bad Batch now. I mean, I kind of thought that I'd hate the idea of like a spin-off with like clones and stuff, but like that is pretty good so far.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I'm 3 episodes in. I haven't got the chance to watch episode 4, but I've really enjoyed it so far. Just the way they have things played out, the way they introduced Bad Batch, and things like that. I do think, like, I don't know if you remember from the first episode when they first introduced and then Order 66 is executed, and the one starts chasing the Padawan.
Oh, I knew there was something sketchy about him.
And I just think the way they played that out was really smart.
Yeah, I can agree. Alright, so back to the whole Palpatine thing, alright? In the beginning, whenever he was first introduced, I had this, like, vibe about him that at some point he was, like, going to betray somebody. Because back whenever, like, I got into Star Wars, I knew nothing about it. But it's one of those things that whenever you take a good look at Palpatine, you already know that there's something up with him, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just the way his sinister look and vibe and attitude that he gives off, you could easily tell that even when the first run through, you could tell that something was up with him.
Yeah. It was
just a clear, obvious thing.
Oh. I really wish that they would have, like, made him keep his lightsaber. Because, I mean, with the little time that they showed him with his lightsaber, like, I love the design of it. It's really, it's kind of like Yoda's size, but, like, it's perfect for one-handed combat, and especially for somebody as, like, far along with, like, fighting and everything as him, it's perfect.
Yeah, because if I remember, Palpatine has I don't remember what form he does. I think he uses Form 7, Juya form, also known as the Ferocity form, and it's more based on, because I don't know if you're big on the forms and stuff, but
kinda not. You wanna go over them real quickly whenever you're done?
What's up?
You wanna talk about them whenever you're done talking about this one? I feel like that'd be interesting. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah,
right.
Go ahead. But yeah, I always got that vibe from Palpatine and things like that. And now you said you're not big on the forms, but actually, the founder of that Form 7 is Mace Windu. Palpatine kind of took that form and made it into his own and uses it as well. And it's just kind of Galen Merrick. He used that form as well. Like I said, it's a more aggressive type of form. Like you've seen Mace Windu fight. He's very aggressive with it.
He is very aggressive, especially in Clone Wars. You know, being able to see him fight a bit more in Clone Wars, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, so to these forms you're talking about, so how many forms are there?
There is a total of 7 forms. Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, Form 5, 6, and 7. Anakin uses Form 5, known as Gemso, also known as the Sheen and Way of the Krayt Dragon. It's based on power attacks and defense. And then it's immediately followed by a counterattack as such.
Yeah, that sounds like an Anakin thing, to be honest.
Yes, it is. Trying to remember Obi-Wan's form. Obi-Wan uses... I know his is very defense-based.
Yeah.
He's Form 4.
Form 4?
Yeah, it's trained, because Qui-Gon Jinn used the same form. He witnessed his master's death due to the lack of defense abilities. Yeah, because there's different types of each form. Like, it goes more in depth. There's 7 forms, and they go in more in depth from there. Because Qui-Gon Jinn used Form 3 Ataru, and Kenobi decided to switch to, or not Form 3, Form 4 Ataru, and Kenobi decided to switch to Form 4 Sarusu, because it's more of a defensive type and waiting for an attack and opening.
Yeah, that kind of... I feel like that might actually, like, instead of, like, with Anakin and, like, going in, I feel like staying on, like, the defense and, like, kind of watching before you attack and, like, waiting for the other to attack, I feel like that's pretty smart to do. So I feel like he's got it down.
I do think it's pretty smart at times, because when it comes to fighting Dooku, who's very attack-based and things like that, or fighting Grievous, like he did in Revenge of the Sith. No, that was Attack of the Clones, so stupid. It's very defense-based and waiting for your opening to make your move.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool, but I also do like the attack-based forms, which would be, Form 5, and I think Form 3 are very attack-based. Form 7 is very attack-based, too. I forgot about that. Yeah, because that's what Mace Windu uses.
Yeah. And he's very aggressive with his fighting. Yeah.
Very, very aggressive.
Alright, so now... Go ahead.
Which I was just going to say, which I think that's what made him so successful.
Yeah.
Is because he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until their defense was completely broken, and then he made his final move.
I feel like at some point, Anakin would have definitely for sure made it to that point. I feel like... It's like, is it possible to grow throughout the forms? Like, are you able to, like... continuously grow up, or is it like once you're like determined in like which form, like you stay there?
You can switch forms at any time. Usually, as far as I know, as a Padawan, most of the time your master you will take the form of your master, and you can switch forms and train in other forms. Because, like I said, Obi-Wan used form 4 Ataru, and then he decided to switch his focus to Sarasu because it was more of a defensive based, and that's the reason for Qui-Gon's death, is because he was using something that had a lack of defensive capabilities.
Yeah, I will say he had one of the most saddest deaths. Whenever he was first introduced, I like grew this attachment to him. I loved him. He was pretty cool.
So did I. I fell in love with Qui-Gon, and then for them to cut him off that quickly.
Oh, they did him so dirty.
They really did.
I mean, I will say, though, to die by Maul and not something else, though, I'd say is a lot better than, like, some stupid, bogus reason.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, to actually die in lightsaber duels are, like, it's a whole lot cooler than to get shot in the back by a clone during Order 66, I will say.
Exactly.
Which I have no complaints about Order 66. I mean, it was okay. I loved watching it. It was,
yeah.
Like, oh god, what are we supposed to do now? Most of the Jedi are dead. What are we gonna do? But that's okay. Let's just introduce Rey later on, and she'll put an end to all of this in like a heartbeat. Which
I have very, very mixed emotions on Rey.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
If you want to call her that.
I don't want to call her a Skywalker at all, because really that's not what she is. But we'll get into that a little bit later on.
Rey Palpatine.
Yeah, she'll forever. She'll forever be a Palpatine, but...
Yes, without...
Alright, so what is your least favorite movie?
Last Jedi. I was not a fan of that movie.
Me personally, it's all about A New Hope. To be honest, I'd watch Rogue One 10 times over than watch A New Hope over and over again. Like,
I can agree with that.
Rogue One, alright, I hate how... like, people are so judgmental. It's like, if it doesn't really have a lightsaber, it's not really cool. Alright? Which,
yeah, exactly.
Rogue One, I think they did perfectly, and I think it was actually pretty cool. I'd watch it over and over again. And I love how they reintroduced Vader again. And, like, with the new remastered look.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Because,
yeah,
like...
I didn't mind Rogue One. My whole issue with The Last Jedi is... I didn't like the plot.
No, the plot sucked.
The plot was not good at all. I will straight up admit that. It didn't have a good plot. And then it just, the events leading into it, into the death of Luke, and the events such, I really didn't like the movie.
No.
Overall, as a movie, I did not enjoy it.
I did not. If we're talking at a, like, Because, like, realistically, like, how do you want to count the 3 new movies? Do you count them as canon? Are you the one to count them as canon or to not count them as canon? I mean, realistically, I believe they have officially been called canon. But
because of the events of Rise of the Skywalker, I would like to call them canon.
I would like to call it canon, but, like, I'm still confused, like, realistically on where this is supposed to sit because of Grogu and all of what happened in Mandalorian.
Yes, that is another thing that I
like,
want to mention.
Like, did he survive whenever Kylo went on his little rampage? Was he even there whenever Kylo did his thing?
That is a lot of questions I have as well. That I am very hoping that the next season, season 3, will answer.
Let's be honest, I'm excited for season 3. Book of Boba.
I'm so excited for it. I am just ready for it already.
Yeah, can't come any sooner.
I can't wait. It's just, there's so many questions being answered. Where was Grogu? What happened to him? Did Luke put him in hiding?
I hope he did.
Was he killed?
I hope not. Even though I hate that little face of his, I hope he wasn't killed.
I really liked his character. He has Grogu has very much character arc and potential.
Yeah.
That he created. So I really do enjoy and hope that he is not killed off. That's another thing that makes me iffy about the whole canon thing.
Yeah.
Because I know me and you in person talked about before how, with the whole events of Mandalorian, how that kind of cancels out the three newest movies.
Yeah. Which, I mean, even if the 3 new movies aren't canon, I don't have a major issue with all of them. It's just, like you said, though, if I had to pick, like, a worst out of those 3, I'm gonna pick The Last Jedi.
Easily.
It fell apart.
It did.
Like, Force Awakens, I'd place it in the middle. All right, I have mixed emotions about it. Still, it was pretty okay, but like definitively to me, Rise of Skywalker, it was amazing.
I'm right there with you. I do think Rise of the Skywalker was the best out of all 3 of the movies.
It is one of the movies that I have walked away and didn't have as many questions. My one big question is, whenever Rey and them were on the planet with Chewie and he got captured by the Knights, like, where was that second ship? Because, like,
that's a question. As soon as that happened, I'm like, okay, where did that second ship go?
What happened there? Chewie was clearly on that ship and it blew up, but, like, it didn't actually?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's what really confused the shit out of me. Is that it was a good movie?
Yeah.
But, like, it had its plot holes, just like every movie has its plot holes.
Yeah.
It's just, but I think it had less than some movies. Like, I do like how they finished off the characters and kind of completed the character arcs.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'm a little upset that we ended off with Rey getting the yellow lightsaber. Really hoping she would have made it and fought Palpatine with it. But
Me too. Me too.
God, because
yellow.
Yellow is such a crisp color to use, and especially with that hilt style, is amazing.
Oh, it would have been so nice.
Another thing that I don't like about Rise of Skywalker. Sorry if I cut you off, but another thing I do not like we said earlier, is how they're calling her a Skywalker. That's not how that works at all. She is a Palpatine.
You were born into that bloodline. You stay that bloodline.
I mean, call her whatever you want, really. I'm not here to shit on your beliefs, but, like, I'm gonna call her Palpatine because realistically, that's what she is.
Yeah, you're right, and I will 100% agree with you there, because she was born a Palpatine. She is the granddaughter of Sheev Palpatine.
Yeah.
I don't hesitate to call her that.
I do like her backstory, though. Her backstory wasn't terrible. I'd say it's one of the best ones we've seen. Well, not the best ones we've seen, but it was alright. I think realistically, it's a bit better than Kylo's because it's kind of like what we saw with like Anakin and stuff. It's a misguided child or a misguided teen, and then boom, he turns evil, and then here's Rey, a bit misguided, but she realizes what she needs to do, and then boom, she's on the good side, one of the strongest ones we've got now.
You want to know what it exactly reminds me of? The whole Darth Vader look thing.
Mm.
Kylo goes evil, has this whole corruption thing, goes evil, let's start it this way. Ben Solo has this whole corruption thing, goes evil,
Yeah.
kills a bunch of younglings.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Turns into Kylo Ren. It reminds you exactly what happened with Anakin, and then boom.
And
Luke,
boom. We're on. It's.
And if you remember at the end of what movie was that? Return of the Jedi, the last movie where Vader technically goes good and air quotes kills Palpatine.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with the Rise of Skywalker. It's just.
So did he actually die whenever he got thrown off, or because it kind of left me with a question? Because like in Rise of Skywalker, all the clones and stuff that were being made. So like, is it a clone we're talking to? I don't think it is, because the one we ran into in Rise of Skywalker was really frail looking. So
yeah, I want to say that he was maybe on the verge of death, and he was saved somehow from someone.
Yeah.
And brought into Exodus, and then he was kind of brought to. Or my whole thing was the Sheev Palpatine that we see in Return of the Jedi. Is it the real one? He's a clone.
That's another thing I saw floating around whenever Rise of Skywalker came out.
Is the real Palpatine is on Exodus, and he's just making all these things.
Yeah. It's like Snoke was a clone.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it was the real Palpatine.
Yeah. So, okay, my mind could be failing me, but wasn't there what was that word? Wasn't there a bigger version of Snoke in one of the movies? Like a really big version, or was it just like a really like amplified like hologram?
I want to say you're right, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I want to say it was just a hologram, and it just so happened to be, like, you know, the room that Kylo was in, like, make him look bigger than he seems, but here we are in Last Jedi, and he's this, like, small, tiny, frail dude that kind of reminds me of Palpatine in many ways, which makes sense why they called him a clone in Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
So many clones being made.
Yeah, it's brings me back to Attack of the Clones. With
Yeah.
the clones and stuff. It's a repeating circle of clones and clones and clones and clones.
Palpatine definitely learned how to do that whenever he called Order 66, let's be honest. He learned what he needed to do and did it to himself.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
undying monster.
It's just, the movies. I very much so enjoy them. I'm an avid Star Wars fan, you know that. But
Yeah.
there is a bit of repetitiveness.
Yeah.
But it's not so repetitive to the point where it's boring.
Yeah. I will say that Star Wars has managed to keep my attention whenever I first started. Like, no matter how boring or long the movie may be, it was actually pretty decent the whole way through.
Exactly. Like you see with Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Anakin didn't know he was this great big thing.
Yeah.
Rey didn't know she was this great big thing. Though he didn't have flashbacks when he touched the lightsaber, but she did. That's where I like the difference. It's kind of repetitive, but it's not at the same time.
Yeah. It's kind of like saying the same with like Vader and Kylo, or Ben, sorry, but like I'd say in many ways they're very similar, like setup of events, but in some ways the whole thing behind Ben's is a little bit more different than with Vader and with Anakin, but it just depends on how you want to look at it. I want to say that.
Yeah, it does. It really determines on your out view and your look on the point.
Yeah.
Like I said, I see a lot of similarities with corruption and such, but they are very different characters. Kylo is, granted, Vader was very aggressive and killed a lot, but his attack and his form, he was very slow.
Yeah.
Very slow and powerful. Kylo is quick. He's merciless. He's quick, and he doesn't give a shit.
He does not.
That is Kylo.
that is Kylo for you, exactly. I loved his lightsaber. I'd say his entire look was amazing. Like, I love Vader's look and all, but Kylo's mask, the way that it sounded, his lightsaber, and how it sounded when it ignited, oh my god, it was amazing.
The fractured kyber crystal,
that
he turned me on.
I'd say that was the best way to introduce those type of kyber crystals, by far. Alright, so let's take her back a few, and let's talk about some of the older movies, alright? You remember the debate going around with, like, Grievous and stuff, like, is he Force sensitive or not? Like, how people actually genuinely thought that he was, like, full robot?
Yes.
I think that's crazy how people never notice that he's not full robot, because, like, you take a look at his eyes, it's a dead giveaway. Just, like, the way that it's, like... It's crazy. I kind of really want to know more backstory behind Grievous and like is his entire race like that, or is just him? Like, what's the deal? What even is his race?
He was a Kalash. That was their that's the species he is, and I do think I don't think he's Force sensitive.
I don't think he is either. Hello? Little technical difficulties. Tanner, are you there? My whole thing, sorry about that. My whole thing whenever it comes to, like, Grievous and how he is, I personally think that it's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. I don't really know a whole much about his race whenever it comes down to it. But, like, the whole like, style where he can go from, like, two-handed fighting to splitting his arms and then using a forehand type style whenever it comes to fighting. And, like, I believe his master was Dooku. But I don't know how they would have done it, but like if Grievous was Force sensitive, I think that would actually be kind of interesting. Like making a cyborg Force sensitive is just something that like is out of the realm of possibilities, but I still think that it would be pretty effing cool to see a Force sensitive cyborg, and it would really put in like it would really slate this whole new like concept of, you know, is this person Force sensitive? Is this robot Force sensitive? I mean, if Grievous can fight and use the Force powers, I think that would be pretty cool. Dooku, I said it in the beginning. I love his fight style. His fight style is it's sexy. I'm gonna say it again because it is that good. It is sexy. His lightsaber.
I am so sorry about that.
It is fine.
It does that from time to time if I'm overloading because I have so many shit running in the background. We were on the topic of Grievous. I don't remember the last thing you heard from me.
It ended off whenever you said Kalash.
Okay, yeah. That is what he, that's his species. And, I think what I was saying next is he's obviously the, warlord, Jedi Hunter of the Confederacy. And I would, like you said, I would definitely like to learn more about his background.
Yeah.
And what he comes from. I do know his, what happened to him. Because he was in like a fight or something, and he sacrificed himself to keep himself alive.
Yeah.
For the robotics and stuff, making him a cyborg. And I just think he has a really interesting background.
I do very much agree with you, and I really love Grievous's background, 100%. I mean, even though I don't know that much about it, and with the little bit that I do know from you, which thank you for informing me on this, but I personally think a 1 to 2 season show dedicated to Grievous and learning about it's kind of like the whole Marvel Legend, relating back to what Marvel's doing again. They're doing this Marvel Legends series, and they're going over a little bit of the background of all of these heroes and villains. I don't think they've done villains yet, but more or less the heroes. I think they could make that for Star Wars, they could make it unique and do short mini episodes and the background of Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn, and then everybody in the dark side,
Or even the Love Death Robots. Something
Great show.
Like that, where it's just short stories.
Yeah.
Of each character, maybe, just to give us a little in-depth kind of background. Even if they could do one on Grievous, they could do one on Maul. Obviously, we kind of know where Maul came from.
Yeah.
And such, because Fallen Order kind of gave us some more background on that.
Yeah.
Or even because we're getting the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna be really, really good.
I have high hopes. I have high hopes for that one.
And it just random characters that we could get a deeper background on.
Yes.
Which I think would be really, really cool and really, really good.
Because there's a few characters in the entire Star Wars franchise that I would love to learn about, and Grievous is by far really high up on that list.
Oh yeah. Grievous, and then who else did I really want to get deeper background on? I would like a spin-off series of Revan.
That would be amazing.
Because not a lot of people know pre-canon things, Knights of the Old Republic.
I'd say Revan is by far one of my favorite whenever it comes to pre-canon stuff. Oh.
If we can get a Revan Darth Malik spin-off,
that would be amazing.
Series, that would be fantastic.
It would be fantastic.
It's just the thought of, hey, we have to have Kevin, or is that his name? Who does the Mandalorian? Who's the Mandalorian's director? Is it Kevin Feige?
Maybe.
Is that who the director is? I don't remember. Jon Favreau.
Oh.
That guy.
Yeah.
He needs to do any series or anything that has to do with Star Wars. He needs to do from now on. He does a fantastic job.
He's been amazing.
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian was beautiful. Great job.
Absolutely love that show. I am addicted to it. It's just the plot, the concept behind it. It's just everything. It's a 10 out of 10 show.
Absolutely.
I would not hesitate to give it that.
I have a little complaint, and it's the fact that he broke the Mandalorian code so many times. But I'm still willing to set that aside for the fact that it was perfectly designed. The CGI and everything's amazing. 10 out of 10.
Yes.
I like how they brought back Luke, I will say.
I like that, but at the same time, I have really high hopes for that being Ahsoka.
Really
wanted it to be Ahsoka.
I have 3 options whenever it comes to it. I wish it would have been Ezra from Rebels, and they could have redone Rebels or something. Because I hate the look of the lightsabers. That is the only complaint that I have. They're too thin, and it's really aggravating.
Thank you. I thought I was the only one that thought that the lightsabers in Rebels they're so thin.
They're
I don't know. They're
ridiculous. My second option would have been Cal Kestis from Fallen Order.
Ooh, I didn't even think of Cal Kestis. That would have been great.
Would have been amazing. Because, think about it. He's canon because of his first game and will be because of his second game. Which is going to be cool to see what they do with the second game. But, think about it. If they would have set it up so he came and he got Grogu, the second game could have been about, training him or something. Could have been centered around the idea of, getting these group of people. But
if you think about it, there still is potential for that to possibly be able to happen because of the fact that with the whole thing with Ben and going crazy and killing,
yeah,
he could have passed Grogu on to another Jedi, such as Ezra or Cal or Ahsoka. There's so many different thoughts that could, theories, thoughts, things that could happen.
I kind of hope that's the case, to be honest.
It could, if the director of Mandalorian, if Jon Favreau and the game director, the game developers of the next game, if they get together and they create this idea, there's so much potential that could come from it. And so many things that could happen along with it. I mean, they did destroy the holocron.
Yeah.
But they're still having him. There could be undeveloped communication that he could have with, with Luke.
Yeah.
And all these other Jedi as he grows as a Jedi warrior and such. It's just, there's so much potential with so many different things that could happen.
I'd say anybody who's Force sensitive kind of has a bit of a connection with everybody else.
They do, because of the Force.
I mean,
like that.
It was kind of proven in Rise of Skywalker near the end with Rey. It was kind of proven that in some way everybody's connected if you're Force sensitive. Well, not everybody, because if that was the case, then Palpatine would have been hearing all this shit too, and he'd be going bonkers. Like, what is all of this? Why?
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly. I think certain people with certain bloodlines have certain connection.
Yeah.
Because the Palpatine and Skywalker bloodline, I wouldn't say they're so close, but there's so much things that have happened between those two bloodlines and such that I do think there's some sort of connection between the two.
Yeah. And I wish, I kind of do agree with you. I do wish Ahsoka, in the end, would have still been the one to pick him up. But at the same time, I get why she didn't, and it's because of what happened with her and Anakin. She has a hard time trusting people, and she sent stuff out of Grogu at the time. But still, I think it would have been sick to see Ahsoka, just so we could see maybe a bit more of Ahsoka, or it could mean the exact opposite, and we wouldn't see much more of Ahsoka just because she'll be off with Grogu. Which I am a firm believer that we're going to see Grogu and Ahsoka again for sure in the third season.
Oh, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
I see, Mandalorian, I see him potentially teaming up with Ahsoka in an episode or so, or him having like this freak out not being with Grogu for him, because him being with him for technically two full seasons.
Yeah.
I could see something happening. They have maybe this connection, because correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, right now Mandalorian, he is the rightful owner of the Darksaber.
He is. And if they try to write it off that he isn't, I'm gonna be pissed, because he won it in combat.
Yeah, he did. He defeated Moff Gideon and won the Darksaber, which I think gives great arc to that and great potential, because you see at the end he's like, I don't give a shit about it. You can take it if you want it, and she's like, no, you can't. It has to be won in battle.
I did not like Bo-Katan at all. I preferred her in Clone Wars, to be honest.
I liked her a lot more in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Because in knowing her intentions from Clone Wars, knowing what she wants to do, just kind of aggravated me, not knowing that.
I really can't believe he tried to hand that thing off. Being a Mandalorian and not knowing what you're actually supposed to do with it, dude, come on.
He is Mandalorian, but I don't think he had such a rich culture and background on what the true Mandalorian is. I mean, he did follow the code super strict through the first season, and he kind of fell off and broke a lot of the codes and a lot of the rules in the second season, but I think all of the reasons he did it was for very good reasons.
Yeah.
He had a legitimate reason to do it.
Look, showing your face to an android, no issue. But then, like, starting to show it to other people. I mean, showing it to Grogu, I don't think he's really gonna, pay attention. Because, he's still so young. But, I don't know. I really wonder what Ahsoka was doing during all of the events. because like with Clone Wars and how like where in the story it took place, like what was she doing then in the live action series? It's like
You're right.
It's all tied together.
It is, and I would like that to be explored more and in depth a little bit more, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because like you can.
It has its potential, but it's like I don't know. I don't know what to think about.
You can partly like maybe have an idea where she went like after the whole like Anakin becoming corrupted. Like that you know, she's definitely on the run after that, and maybe a little bit before leading up to her being kicked out of the whole Jedi Order. So maybe some like off-screen stuff going on in the live action. It was more explained in Clone Wars, but watching Anakin like go to the dark side again in Clone Wars kind of just hit a bit more different than it did in the actual live action. I don't know.
I agree with you there.
I don't know. I think it's because, you know, we're sitting there watching Anakin and Ahsoka, like, Ahsoka grow up with Anakin, and, like, Anakin being her primary mentor and through all of this. And, like, them being together so much, having the most screen time together. And then just watching him just change just like that. It kind of just...
Yeah.
So sad.
Because there was so much more character depth and so much more in-depth play and such in the Clone Wars that just developed.
I can agree.
With the relationship between Ahsoka and Anakin, it kind of, what's the best way to put it? It gave you more of a connection to them too than what the movies, the live action did.
Yeah, I will say that I prefer Clone Wars a bit more than all the live actions. Just being able to see all of the Jedi that we never really got to see. That, and then the intro, just the music, like the vibes held by that music.
Yeah.
Hearing that all the time. That music is so amazing, but...
I agree with you.
But, I mean, Clone Wars kind of held a bit more, like, detailed information than what the movies did. Which is sad because, like, Clone Wars was episodes and not movie, and you think in the movie you could kind of get across a little bit more detail. But, like, with the length that Clone Wars ran at, and, like, with the movies and stuff, yeah.
It just... The Clone Wars took... The show took Attack of the Clones so much more in depth.
It did.
A better perspective on how things work in such... As more, it gives you a deeper character for Obi-Wan. And all the Jedi. All of the Jedi. They get... And even Darth Maul.
Exactly, yeah.
People like that, it just gives you such a deeper, in-depth look at what the Clone Wars truly was.
I like how they took, like, Darth Maul and made him go, like, absolutely insane.
Oh my god, yes. I like
that was amazing. And then, like, one of his brothers taking the role, like, the absolute brute. So good.
Yeah,
it was like by far one of my like favorite like sides of it. I really like how like he was one of the main reasons that like everything was going on Mandalore. Really proved, which that kind of makes me think that like maybe at some point we might see like Maul or something with like within the Mandalorian. Like maybe he's still alive at this point and he wants that Darksaber back. It's like at some point he had it.
There is potential for that. I could see that. I could see that happening, maybe. There is a lot of potential for things to happen within the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
There's so much within so many different things. There's so much potential, so much things they could do. And it's just, they have to do. If they just do them, they can. Because I do see the fan base slowly dying. I mean,
yeah.
I do see, Mandalorian did bring it back to life, but the fan base isn't as strong. And they need to do something about that to bring it back.
Yeah, it's not quite strong with the Force. Oh, that's clever.
We've learned so many different things about the Jedi. I would like to get more in-depth things about the dark side.
I would love it. A whole series dedicated to the dark side. Like, we basically had an entire series dedicated to the light side and their struggles. Well, what about the dark side and their struggles?
Exactly. As Palpatine comes to power, or Darth, my topic back on Revan,
Yeah.
and Malik, things like that. Just things are just so interesting and can go so in depth, and they just if they do it, it'll just make it so much. It'll reliven the Star Wars universe.
Absolutely. I agree so much. An entire series just dedicated to that. I think an entire series just dedicated to the pre-canon stuff. Like, seeing that, like, not just in, like, Knights of the Old Republic and stuff, but, like, actually seeing it come to the screens and stuff. Film.
Yes, even just right before Anakin's time.
Yeah.
I would so be okay with.
I would be okay with it, too. I would have no issues.
Definitely.
Especially with somebody like Revan. Beautiful.
Oh, it would be fantastic. I so much enjoy the arc of Evan and how he came to be and such. There's so much, like I've said before, there's so much potential. So many different things they could do.
So much.
It's all about them getting the motivation to do it.
yeah, so much, like, untapped, unused potential just sitting there. Honestly, I feel like in some ways it could be like this really big hit, but like if they attack it the wrong way, it could be like this really big dumpster fire that really could make or break their company, you know? Exactly. I mean, they're quite a big company, so like, really, is it gonna be like an absolute tragedy if something like that doesn't work out? Maybe not, but I do still feel like they could be affected in some way.
Yeah, it really depends. Like,
yeah.
It like you said, it depends on the way they attack it.
Yeah.
If they do it wrong, they could screw it all up and no one's gonna touch. But if they take it the right way, it could. There's so much they could do with it.
God, it could spark something. It could spark something new.
It really could.
Spark
something
this.
We haven't seen before.
Spark this flame, which I feel like if it's something new that people don't know a whole lot about or don't know, like they know what it is, and like kind of want something on it. I feel like because if it's new, not really anybody's gonna know like if they're approaching it really wrong or anything, unless like you're a diehard Star Wars fan and you know everything.
Exactly. That's the only way they'll really like. I wouldn't call myself a diehard fan, but I would call myself an avid fan.
Yeah. I'd call myself a big fan, not like.
Yeah.
It's like
I do.
I've had my moments with it.
I play the games. I played Fallen Order. I've played Battlefront, both of them. I've played Quarter and Knights of the Old Republic and games like that. I've played them all.
Yeah.
They're fun games, and it's just with the games, there's so much depth that they can do with shows and movies.
Exactly. That's why I like a lot of companies like introducing this non-canon stuff in the beginning, and then that like setting the slate for them coming into the franchise later on.
Exactly. I totally agree with you on that.
I mean, because like we have the set story now, but like introducing stuff that happened in the past that leads up to this events or stuff that happens after these events, like I think that honestly be kind of cool to see.
I agree with you because we know so much about the Skywalker saga. I would like to learn more about other things like the Mandalorian. Granted, Luke was brought into it, but there's just so many things that I would love to learn. Obi-Wan pre-Anakin with Qui-Gon, or Qui-Gon pre-Obi-Wan. Just things like that. Just the little things that are so intriguing that I would love to learn.
There's a lot of things I'd love to learn about that I don't feel like they're gonna tackle.
I agree with you too. I don't touch.
It's kind of like I'm kind of scared to see the future of where Star Wars is gonna go. Like Bad Batch and Mandalorian are really good, but it's gonna get to a point where they're gonna try to continue it further, but then people aren't going to enjoy it, and then it's just gonna start to fall down. Like every franchise has that type of thing go on with it. So like.
Exactly.
Approach it well, and maybe you guys could have yourselves a hit that lasts a bit longer.
exactly. Like I see season 4 or 5, Mandalorian starting to get bored.
Yeah.
They're running out of ideas.
It,
And I don't see Bad Batch going past the second season.
I really don't either. Not with how like a lot of like the people behind this like are with their movies and stuff.
Yeah, it's
like
just it really depends. They have to keep introducing more things if they want to keep going.
Yeah. Like everybody will say they don't like to lean directly towards lightsabers and stuff, but realistically that's what you see picking up a lot of traction because, like, you know, the guns and the blasters and stuff, you know, they're okay, they're pretty cool, but then your lightsabers, oh, okay, that's definitely where it's at.
Exactly. And there's so much potential with so many things, like you've seen with Ezra's his blaster saber.
I think it's beautiful.
Different, something you don't see that often with Rey's yellow lightsaber. That's something you just don't often see.
Exactly.
There's so much potential, so many different things they can do.
Because, like, okay, let's look at this. Like, whenever, like in Disney World and stuff, what do you see more of? Do you see more of a build your own blaster or build your own lightsaber?
Build your own lightsaber.
Let's be honest. People are going to go to the lightsaber side instead of the blaster side. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a community out there that'll, like, fight you on it because they'll say, oh, blasters are a whole lot better. And in many ways, they can be in fights. But, like, no matter if they're more effective, people are going to go for style points instead of effective points, you know? It's...
Exactly. It's just... like, let's get on top of Han Solo. He was a blaster guy. He was great with it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take... let's compare him to Luke. There was so much more... and not forget it, Han Solo is a great character. Everyone loves him. So sad that they cut him off.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss him.
Luke was... there's so much more developed Luke because of lightsaber. And because of him being a Jedi, there was so much more he... I don't want to say... I don't want to... but a character. It's just... the Star Wars is based around lightsaber. Good and bad.
Hey, yeah. Like, this may be a little, like, sketchy to say, but, like, honestly, I'd like to see just a tiny bit more with, like, space battles and stuff, too.
Me too.
Like...
because there's so many different types of ships. When you see the Razor Crest, Mandalorian, and different types of battle... there's so much different you can do space fight.
Exactly. Like, whenever I first heard of Star Wars, I realistically kind of thought it was going to be like Star Trek, you know? Just pure ships and fighting in space, which is, it's a cool concept, but, like, it wasn't as attention-grabbing. But then actually watching it, like, nowadays, you ask me, I'm going to, like, relate Star Wars to lightsabers, because that's just the type of, like, world that everybody likes to associate this with, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's
you see, like, even if you go to a little kid that doesn't really know what Star Wars is, if you see Star Wars, think, oh, lightsaber.
lightsaber.
That's what it's based around. It's not based around. It's not based around space battle.
Yeah. Which,
like that. That's just...
I mean, look at me right now. I have my own lightsaber that I ordered off of Saberforge. I mean, I think it's really beautiful. Lost my charger for it. So tragic. Speaking of tragic, did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
I have.
That was I love that part in the entire franchise. Just actually sitting there and listening to it. Oh, I found this copy pasta of it. I'm reading it right now.
Alright, you want to get ready to wrap this thing up?
Absolutely.
Because we're starting to get in pretty deep.
54 minutes in.
Wow. Yep, pretty deep in.
Yeah. Well, you see, this is a type of thing that everybody could go on for hours. Like,
oh, easily. I could go on for... I didn't have things I had to do.
Exactly, yeah.
15, 20 minutes.
But, like, Star Wars, no matter what people would say on it, they have had some train wreck movies, but overall, it's a pretty good franchise, and I can't forever stay like hateful towards it if they do something bad, because in the end, it gets an A minus for me, not an A plus, an A minus.
I would give it an A on the. That and Marvel are my two top favorite franchises when it comes to shows and movies.
You see, with me, I'm more of like a whole MonsterVerse type thing with Godzilla and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I know you are.
But I'll say that Star Wars and Marvel, they sit very high. DC, that's like a solid 5th place.
Yeah, I'm not a huge DC.
I
mean, Batman, Superman.
Oh, sorry, DC,
Marvel,
but...
Marvel and Star Wars is right.
Yeah, DC has the best animated movies and shows, as like Riley would always say. Like I do firmly agree that DC will always have the best animated, but Star Wars and Marvel, pretty much by far the best live action movies and pretty good actual live action shows too. So.
Oh yeah, easily, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, but those are topics for different weeks of the podcast. So.
Of course.
Thank you for joining me. More than welcome to join me whenever I talk about Marvel stuff and everything. But
without a doubt, I will definitely be here.
This has been fun. I learned a lot about those forums, and honestly, pretty happy to know about those forums.
Yep.
But,
there's so much you can do and dig to find about forums. It's just
all
about doing the research.
Oh. But yeah, all right. Well, Star Wars, everybody, really good franchise. Anything you want to say before I wrap this up?
Just thank you for having me, and I can't wait to come back for another.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited to have you back again, too.
Yep, of course.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and catch you at the next podcast.